Alright, alright.
All right. Welcome to the Boys Talk. The host, or the sign co-host, Potato or Dane, Potato. Uh, so what we're looking at today is
Basically pedophilia, aka MAPs, aka minor attracted persons, aka the kinder word for pedophiles.
yeah,
So it's all a fine little loop.
we're watching Combat Wombat's interview with Kino. We
Talking
already,
about
yeah,
loops.
talking
This
this.
guy, he repeats his points often, that's a little warning. And just in case you cannot tell from our voices, we are both 14. Albeit, he's older than I am by a few months, but we're still fucking 14. So we can talk about this shit as people around the age range.
Yeah, watching Combat Wombat's interview with Kino. If you don't know who Combat Wombat is, he's pretty cool. Check him out. Um, we already watched a little bit ahead, and I have to
I've
say,
watched the entire video,
all right, I watched
which
up to
he has
18.
not done.
I watched up to 18 minutes. Potatoes watched the entire video. So far, it's the dumbest thing I've ever even had the displeasure of seeing. Not
I
saying the
mean,
Combat Wombat's video is bad. It's a really good video. I just hate this guy. I hate
it's
Kino so much.
it's a good video if you want a good laugh at Kino's valid or invalid attempt to repeat himself. Because he isn't even attempting to prove his point anymore. He's literally just attempting to prove himself.
He uses a bunch of big words, which is usually a sign of not knowing what you're talking about if you can't explain it in
Exactly.
a simple manner.
Another
Um,
warning, Kino uses the term cognitive ability a lot, which he does not seem to know what it means.
yeah, not saying I don't really know what it means, but you know, okay, look, let's just stop because I was about to freaking go off, just
Let's
invalidating every
not go
single
on
one
a
of
rant.
Kino's points. But
Let's not
even though
go on
there's
a
only
rant
one.
until later on.
Yeah, let's just start this. Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, I see.
Let's get to the let's get into the main attraction, shall we?
Let's get into
Oh yeah, we skipped to 6 minutes because that's when they actually start talking about the juicy stuff.
the main attraction, why don't we? So you said that you were arrested twice. Was that because of your views and opinions on the map stuff, or was that something else?
No, it was for. Oh wait, we're still in my personal. Okay, that was for criticizing the Singapore government
Okay.
because being rude to religion in Singapore is that you don't just get potentially a strike on your channel; you get arrested for like months in jail.
Yeah.
Criticizing religion and criticizing pretty much an authoritarian politician who's been like being a dictator to the country for about 50 years. So those are valid reasons that I think you and most of your audience would agree should not send me to prison for. The pedophilia stuff, I haven't been sent to prison yet. But yeah, essentially,
Yet.
Yeah.
I was sent to prison for things outside of pedophilia.
So somebody on Twitter
surprisingly enough. So.
Yeah, somebody on Twitter sent me a screenshot of you talking to somebody who was allegedly 14. Is that like, are you talking to a 14-year-old girl? Is that something they're just making up?
I'm not sure about that. There's many like weird rumors and allegations. I believe that one time somebody made a rumor that like what, I'm being funded by a pedophile and living in his basement, and that got picked up by like a news source. It's just, yeah, man. Like,
Yeah.
make sure to get evidence before sharing false allegations on me. So.
All right. So to actually get into it, so
Let's get into it.
you're rather infamous for your opinions on all of this, and the main thing that I take issue with is your opinions on consent and what age groups can consent, and that we should lower the age of consent. Why? Like, I think at one
I
point you
think we should
said,
abolish completely.
Okay, his first point. Abolishing the age of consent. Now,
It's fucking stupid.
there are so many things wrong with that point. Okay, look. First of all,
And he's
I'm not
talking about
gonna go on a
completely
rant.
different-
I'm going to stay controlled because I already heard all of this. If you are like if for a man, for men, if you are below 25, your brain is not fully developed, right? So
Yeah.
being, I think he says like 4 to 7, some people can, you know, understand what consent is, which is
4 to
complete
7,
bull.
8 to 12. I believe those are the ages he gave.
Yeah,
Or
later
between-
on in the video, which is complete bull. You can say that you know what consent is. You can say you give consent. You have no idea the gravity
What
of
you're
what you are
consenting
saying,
to.
what you are consenting to, what the other person is saying. You have no idea what's happening. I still don't even fully understand the gravity of what that word means, and I'm 14.
I mean,
So completely
me
abolishing the age of
personally,
consent, there's a reason it's illegal.
I know what this kind of shit is, but I am the exception, not the rule. And he's mentioning people that are 2 or more years younger than us. They don't know what it is. I might, but they fucking don't. Right?
Yeah. I still
That's
don't think you completely understand what that word
not
means.
completely, but I know enough.
It's very manipulative. It's very just messed up in every way. You can
Forewarning for
completely ruin someone's life by doing that.
Yeah, forewarning for you. Later on in the video, they actually bring up how manipulative it is. Or at least, Comet Wombat does.
Okay. We might be able we might have to separate this podcast into 2 parts because this is a 1 hour video
We might
and
have to, yeah.
we're gonna be stopping, so it's probably gonna be around like 2 hours, and I don't want a 2 hour podcast slash reaction video thing. So that's his first point. I completely disagree with it. I think it is very stupid.
You're probably gonna completely disagree with all of his points, just saying.
Yeah. Alright, let's continue.
Completely. So you don't think there should be any cutoff for the age of consent?
Let's really. I think that in terms of the legal aspect, it should be abolished completely. But let's make it really clear. That doesn't mean that I think all ages. I think that 0 to 3, they definitively aren't able to. But
Only 0 to 3. They are not able to. So 4 to I think 17, because 18 you're an adult. That's fine. No, that's fine. That's perfectly. That's okay. No, that's all right.
Completely
It's not like
fine.
4 to freaking 16. You have no idea what that word means. No. You know what that word the second you hit 4, you know what that word means. The second you hit it. I actually think Combat Wombat says something about that later on in this video. It might be the
Yeah,
next
it
thing
does.
he says. I don't freaking remember. But all I'm saying, I'm going on it right. And this dude is so freaking dumb to even think that's possible.
from 4 to 7, I think that there's a possibility that they're able to. Although from 4 to 7, it's a really small minority.
Okay, well,
Okay. 4 to 7, it's a very small minority. What about the majority? You're just gonna ruin the rest of their lives? And first of all, no, that small minority straight up doesn't exist. Because there's no possible way it could exist.
Exactly.
Your brain is not developed yet enough to understand anything like that. Anything of that freaking...
You don't know anything about anything, basically, at that age.
It's so... I'm alright.
how do you decide that? How do you just go, oh yeah, 4-year-olds, it's fine, but only some of them, like, that sounds a little bit batshit.
Exactly.
From evidence of the cognitive development of a child, which I linked in the description of my videos. But yeah, anyone can just check it out. If you showed my channel links, essentially, underneath the description of all my videos, there's plenty of citations which indicates the cognitive development of a child. Shows that generally at around 8, they'd be cognitively able to consent to sex. In my
No.
Yeah, no. Just
No.
no.
Like I said before,
There is no
You-
way in hell that anything like that is going to fucking happen.
no, there is no way. There. Let's just continue. This dude.
Yeah, let's just fucking continue.
I don't want to roast him too hard, bro. Hold me back.
Carry
opinion.
on.
Because by that point, they'd be able to understand consequences, be able to verbally communicate with an adult, be able to think another person think.
All right.
Yeah, no.
Just because you can verbally communicate with an adult.
Just because you can fucking
Ju-
talk to someone.
Just
does
because you
not
can
mean-
ask questions about what this means does not mean that you know everything about that. Unless you do research yourself, I'm not even gonna say that unless you
Yeah, but-
experience it yourself, which is just completely
unless
not
you
right.
experience it yourself, which you should not fucking do.
I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying in general. Let's put that there. With anything,
Yeah, in general.
unless you do your own research, experience it yourself, see it firsthand, or anything of that nature, you have no idea. You might have a small idea of what that means, but in this sense, you have none. You are completely stupid to that entire section of everything.
Right. I'll use this as an example. Say, drinking alcohol. You can look up what it does to your body, what it does to your mind, what being drunk feels like, but you won't truly know until you experience it yourself. Right?
Yeah.
That's the point that you're trying to prove, but using a different situation, basically.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You shouldn't do that. That goes without saying. You shouldn't do any of this. If you're 8, you don't
If
understand
you're
anything.
8,
You are way
probably
too
shouldn't
young.
be on the internet, first and foremost.
You have no idea what that means, and just because you can ask people does not mean that you know everything about it now.
The ability to speak does not take the ability to take a dick into consideration. Thank you very much.
What is wrong with
Those
you?
two things are completely unrelated.
Okay, buddy.
Listen,
Jesus
it's
Christ, dude.
That's basically the point that he's trying to prove, and I'm saying these two things are not fucking related.
No, they're not. They're not related. Let's just move on.
Yeah,
He's gonna
moving
say
on.
some more weird stuff.
In another person's perspective.
Yeah.
And I think those are perfectly reasonable criteria to determine a child's cognitive development being sufficient enough to consent to sex.
Okay, you are delusional.
He is straight up delusional.
You are delusional. Like we said before, I started a lot making that point, but Jeremy freaking was like, I got you, fam. So
He
basically
went
take
off
take
before
what
recording.
Potato or Jeremy, I don't know if I can say your name. If not, I'll
Yeah,
just
you
bleep it.
can. I'm
Alright.
fine with it.
You can say my name. If Jeremy, take what Jeremy said in the last pause. That is basically, it still applies because this just doesn't make any sense.
That's why I
Just
said it.
because you can speak to someone, just because you can ask questions, just because you can just talk in general, does not mean
does
you know everything
not-
about that subject.
Exactly. These two things are completely unrelated.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Alright, let's move on. If he says anything about that, we're just not gonna pause it. We've made our point. We've regurgitated.
And from 4 to 7, it's they aren't able to, but there's a really small minority of people, gifted children, who are able to.
Okay. What do you mean by gifted?
I believe what he means is that he thinks that these kids know enough or are quote unquote cognitively developed enough to
Quote.
consent. But they aren't. By far, they fucking aren't.
Yeah. I think I said this in the beginning. And I just lost my entire train of thought. The stupidity's getting to me, dude. Let
They
me
aren't
rewind it.
able to, but there's a really small minority of people.
Okay, small minority. This is what I said. Because there is a small minority, which there isn't, does not mean that you should sacrifice the majority and ruin their lives. I said that at the beginning. I'm gonna say it again. There it is.
Gifted children who are able to, and what I mean by that is that they are more cognitively developed than a typical 4 to 7
They're
year
really
old,
not.
which is why
Yeah, they're not, because how are you more developed? In what way?
I'll tell you how. You're not.
You're not. You physically can't be.
they're able to.
Like
Children. I know, like you made the statement before that most 4 to 7 year olds they're just like sucking on their mucus and watching Rugrats, and I agree. Some of them aren't. And the fact
Well,
that
just because
stories of those exist goes to show that there are some people that are the exceptions. So
I mean, Shoe on Head made a great point against you that just because a kid can consent and can say they consent, that does not make it right because
There we frickin' go. There it is. There it is.
they have no idea what they're agreeing to. And also, they are not sexually mature. You hit puberty around the ages of, for girls, it's about 10 to 14, and boys, it's about 12 to 16. You are not sexually mature at that age at all.
You essentially just admitted that those children can consent.
He did not.
No, he did not. Okay, look. He said they can. They can. That means they can say they can. But they really can't. They don't know what they're saying. They don't know what that means.
Going on that situation. Basically, Comet Wombat said that you aren't sexually developed during puberty. He is correct.
Yeah.
But Kino misinterpreted it so fucking galactically that it deserved its very own pause.
Congratulations! You got your pause, Kino, for being so freaking dumb. And completely misinterpreting an entire freaking
So
point
fucking bad, dude.
because you're not listening to the other person and you're just completely biased. Congratulations.
His personal bias is blinding him to the truth.
Yup.
They can't. Puberty does not
Means
equal that they can consent and actually have sexual relations with an adult.
I think that you shouldn't look at puberty. You should look at whether or not their cognitive development is.
There it goes. There it goes again. Their cognitive development.
Their quote-unquote cognitive development has nothing to fucking do with this. If they're 4 to fucking 12, you fucking nonce.
Alright, you need to calm down, but I agree.
That is the point of this video.
For consent, and the fact is that there are cases of like 5 to 8 year olds where they essentially engage
Hold on,
in a
pause the
sexual
video.
act.
Pause the video. Pause the video. What he's about to say
Oh, dude.
is so momentously retarded.
Dude, the first time I
that
watched this, we
you
were
need
watching
to
it together.
brace yourself.
When Jeremy showed me this video and said, we need to do a freaking video on this. I freaked out so hard. I turned this man into a burnt chicken nugget the amount I roasted him, dude.
We need to let you prepare yourselves to hear this fucking point. Oh my god.
Alright.
You will laugh.
Alright, let's go back a little bit.
Cases of like 5 to 8 year olds where they essentially engage in a sexual act and it turned out to be completely fine. And these are not
completely fine.
Oh, no, 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 no.
They are completely
No.
fine.
That's not how that works, sir. That
Okay,
is
okay,
not
okay.
how that works.
Let me rant for a little bit here. So let's say you are very young. You
Say
said 4 to
5.
5. Thank you,
5.
sir, for saying that. So let's say you're 4 to 5. You are quote unquote dating a 20-year-old boy.
And you
You are
decide
going to have a horrible outlook
quote-unquote,
on life.
engage in a sexual situation with them. Motherfucking no, first and foremost. But you want to know how I interpreted this when I first watched it?
What?
I interpreted it as him saying that the kids were basically raping the people. Jesus fucking Christ.
So, oh my gosh. Okay, so let's say what you said, you engage in that act, which is very bad. You are going to get ripped apart. You are going to get hurt, and that is so disgusting that that even needs to be a thing that I have to say. But you are going to get destroyed, and if you somehow manage to freaking survive that or whatever, or you're fine after, quote unquote, you will you'll have a horrible outlook on life. You're not gonna want to freaking live. And if you're
It
still
changes the
with that
mental.
20-year-old, and later on you be like, let's say when you get, I don't know, 18, he's like really
Okay,
old now,
okay.
and
This is
you,
actually a point that it makes. This is a point that Kino makes.
yeah,
That
and you
there's a
freaking,
situation where the kids date the older person and then they get married and quote unquote live happily, which fucking no.
yeah, no, they may be happy, which
But
is fine,
you are not.
but they have a outlook on life to the point
They
where
were manipulated into being happy.
the second that that person leaves their life, they are not going to be happy anymore. They are going to want to die. They're not, when they're with that person, they're not going to be able to talk to anyone. They're not going to be able to have any freaking social relationships other than that person. They're not going to understand anything but that if you start that at a very young age, because that's going to be their entire life.
Yeah, it's just fucking.
Once that person
Everything
leaves their
about it
life,
is wrong and
they're either gonna
so
kill
many
themselves, they're gonna accidentally kill them. They're gonna get got. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, basically.
They're not gonna live in life
They're not
happily.
gonna live much longer
No,
after their quote unquote partner dies.
partner dies, partner leaves, partner.
Does literally anything wrong,
Yeah,
or say
that
gets
is going
arrested
to.
for being a fucking pedophile.
Yeah, that is gonna straight up mess someone up. That is going to
That is the
destroy
point
someone's
that Kino
mental
makes,
state.
by the way, that say taking away the adult lover, quote unquote lover, would mess with the child, which no, not in the way that he talks about it. Like if they're older, sure, it's gonna mess them up, but as the child, they're probably not developed enough to know what the fuck is happening, right?
I'd feel like that still mess him up because
Yeah, it would, but not in the way that he thinks it would. Right?
I
Because
guess, yeah.
say losing a partner at 20 isn't the same at losing a partner at 5, which is something that I never thought I'd say, but like obviously it's not the same because at 20 you are more developed and you know what the fuck is going on. You might even blame yourself for them leaving, which is something that Kino even says that the 5-year-old would do. They would blame themselves for the person getting arrested, which, I mean, it's the arrested person's fault for even getting in a relationship with a fucking 5-year-old. Thank you very much. Moving on.
Oh boy.
Just like some sick pedophile like pressuring the child into saying that, oh, this sexual act is fine, even though it isn't. It's essentially adults who reflected on them as a 5 to 8-year-old, having that sexual act and saying that it was consensual and fine. So
All right, so
it exists. Don't yeah. So
the thing is that you say that 4-year-olds can consent, which is the biggest. It blows my mind. Like,
Yep, yep. We
Yep,
already
yep,
said this.
yep,
Preach it,
yep.
combat. Preach it.
oh
you
no,
do
no, I'm
realize
saying
that
that a
fucking
really
gone.
okay. The youngest anecdote I've seen is a 5-year-old. I'm just saying that from 4 to 7-year-old. I think generally only at around 8 can you consent, but from 4 to 7-year-old, there's still a small minority of cases that are able to consent, and they're most likely gifted.
okay, let's get into that consent thing.
Okay,
So
pause
there
the
was a
vid.
part.
Now, what he just said is wrong on so many levels, but what he said, word-wise, has made me think of a response. The majority versus the minority, the needs of the many versus the manipulation of the few, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think I said this before.
I think you said it during, like, the pre-watch, right?
I think I said it in the video like 3 times
yeah.
already.
I don't fucking remember. Moving on.
Alright.
Your second, part where you were responding to Shoe on Head that you kind of skipped over because
Here, let me actually just explain that. So when I said destroy the majority, if the minority exists, which it doesn't in this situation,
Precisely.
when I said destroy the minority, I meant because he wants to abolish the age restrictions,
consent.
age of consent. That is going to destroy that. Is going to mess stuff up so hard. That's what I meant. You're going to risk the minority for the majority, and that minority doesn't even exist.
Now, there is a reason why the age of consent in some states is 16, not 18, and that's because, oh hey, they are probably good enough, quote unquote. Now, I'm not sure about this, but I mean, whatever. It's
Yeah.
some states, not all states.
she went over the fact that you said at one point you had mentioned that if a child crawls towards your manhood, that counts as them consenting. Is that something you
Oh,
actually
I
think?
did not. That was a horrible statement that I made before, and I completely apologized for it and retracted it. Let's make it very clear. From ages 0 to 3, I do not think that they are able to consent.
But when they hit
Only
4 or
generally,
5,
I
pause,
think
pause, pause.
I think this is when he says, but when they hit 4 or 5, they magically can consent.
Yeah, that's what's about to happen, by the way. But he somewhat has a point. Of course, 0 to 3-year-olds cannot consent. Neither can 4 to fucking 12-year-olds. 13 and up, no. So basically, don't. That's the point. Moving on.
Yeah, I guess.
only able to consent, that doesn't make any sense. They're not any more intelligent or much
We said this before. Just saying.
sure to do that. And there's a
I
reason
want to
that
stress.
there's a reason that the legal age is 16 in some states and 18 in every other state. The only reason it's 16 in some states is because that's around the age that sexual maturity gets up there. Before that,
In
hell
See,
terms
no.
this
of-
is
yeah,
the point that I just
alright.
made. This is the point that I
In
just
terms
made.
of legality,
That's why I made it.
that's basically just an elementary logical fallacy because just
Oh, this is one of the dumber parts of the video. He probably doesn't even know what that means.
No, he just sounds so dumb when he says it. That's what makes me laugh.
Every other state. The only reason it's 16 in some states is because that's around the age that sexual maturity gets up there. Before that,
in
hell
terms
no.
of alright. In terms of legality, that's basically just an elementary
Elementary
logical
legal.
fallacy. Because something is illegal doesn't
He
mean that it's immoral.
has no brain.
Yes, because something is illegal does not mean it's immoral. You are correct, but because something is illegal, there's a reason it's
Because-
illegal.
And because something is immoral, there's a reason why it is immoral. It is immoral and illegal to fuck a kid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to put
Otherwise,
it
you know-
so bluntly, but it's true.
Beheading in Saudi Arabia would be justified. the fact of the matter. Now, let me make it really clear. Generally, I think that only are children able to consent to sex, and there's plenty of evidence of the cognitive development of a child which indicates that. I'm just saying that at 4 to 7, if those exist, and they're most likely gifted, as in those 4 to 7-year-olds have
Okay, so he just said if those exist. So he's not even
They do
completely.
not
They don't.
exist.
First of all, he's completely like he doesn't even know if they exist. Okay, but he still thinks they do. So I mean, he
He's
doesn't
wrong.
believe what he's saying. Is what I'm trying to say.
He's just trying to make shit up so we can fuck a kid. Basically.
Jesus Christ, Jeremy.
I'm putting it very bluntly here because we all know that it's fucking true, right?
Yeah.
I
but
don't need to be gentle if we
You should
know
not.
that
Okay.
it's true.
You should never need to be gentle ever.
I should
But
not exactly.
in YouTube and stuff
There's
like this, you have to
demonetized
be
YouTube.
gentle because people's feelings are very fragile.
Exactly. People are like glass. Don't be like glass.
Grow a freaking backbone. Take a hit or a hit. Get punched in the face. Everyone should get punched in the face.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. Getting off track.
higher cognitive development than a typical 4 to 7-year-old that matches perhaps an 8 to 10-year-old, which is why they're able to consent to sex.
An 8 and 10-year-olds are not able to consent to begin with.
Exactly.
So
That's an
if
important point.
a 4 to 7-year-old has the cognitive ability to think like a 8 or 10, that still doesn't matter. They still aren't able to consent.
And in terms of like children that are 12 and above, definitive evidence that they are able to consent to sex. By that point, they have gained a level of abstract thinking. So yeah, I think that it's definitive enough evidence to show that. And
Now I can't speak for what he just said because I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think they've developed the level of abstract thinking that they know what
Definitely
that
not.
word means. I really don't think they have.
We probably haven't yet, but I know not a lot about the subject. I just know a lot about the other subject, the main subject of this video.
I'm just saying that I'm almost certain that ages
It's all
13
wrong.
to even 16 don't even know what that word means. Maybe 17 to 18.
I mean,
But
16-year-olds probably.
maybe,
enough,
but
right?
I guess. But I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think that what he just said is true, but I can't fact check that because I'm not entirely sure.
And essentially, like people who don't want to admit that these cases happen are just denying the facts. So
Denying the facts. I have not seen anything like what he's been saying about ages 4 to 7 to 8 to
No,
9, the 8 to 10, or
because this video is pumped.
move on.
So you're saying that a law is an elementary logical fallacy, right?
I mean, the implication, I don't know if you meant it, but the implication you were trying to make is that because something is illegal, that means it's wrong. That doesn't make
The
it right at
reason
all.
it's
So
illegal and the reason it's wrong is because children cannot have sexual relations with an adult because, I mean, first of all, this should be obvious and it's disgusting for me to even have to say it. It would be extremely
so-
painful.
Yeah,
Like, they are
Yeah.
not
basically, your
developed.
position.
I said that earlier on, not because he
yeah,
said
you
it,
did.
but it's just
And
true.
That's why I mentioned what I did, right? That's what I mentioned what I did. That type of shit would obviously be painful. So, no, it's not gonna be legal ever. Thank you very much. Moving
Yeah.
on.
For that.
Yeah. It's just essentially from your own personal opinion, and who
Personal opinion? That's not an
Personal
opinion.
opinion versus
That's-
fact. Opinion versus fact It is a fact, not an opinion, that it is illegal and that it would hurt like fucking hell,
Yeah,
right?
that's not an opinion, guy.
Who would you rather trust? Your
Family
limited
members
personal
that have
opinion?
gone through it.
Holy! Alright, I think I remember this. He says
you do.
that, and I think Kino just dodges the question.
He just dodges it completely like Neo from the fucking Matrix dodging bullets.
Like,
Silence!
Complete
who would you rather trust? Your
silence.
personal opinion or like researchers who've studied children extensively for decades?
He just said who he'd trust.
A couple of biased
So
weirdos.
who would you react?
I mean, I trust family members and friends who have gone through shit like that in their childhood. And
Oh shoot! You know what he just said? He
Hmm?
just oh shoot! He when Kino said, who'd you rather trust? A couple guys saying no, or a bunch of scientists and researchers? And he said a couple biased weirdos. He said the freaking scientists and researchers are a couple biased weirdos. He just called Kino a biased weirdo. That is what you like to see.
That is a fact. He's blinded by his own bias.
Yes,
So,
heck yeah,
He
dude.
keeps trying to repeat himself to try to prove his point. But he fails at every fucking turn.
this
Oh,
is
look.
this is from people
you're-
that they manipulate.
They do.
Just representing the positions of pedophiles. There's a complete difference between sexual abuse, which is what you're trying to say, and
No, there isn't.
There is not.
I'm gonna just leave it at that, because that should go without saying. There is not a difference.
I completely condemn sexual abuse. There's a difference between
Then you condemn what you're... He doesn't believe what he's talking about. He doesn't believe the words that are coming out of his mouth.
sexual abuse and consensual sexual acts
So,
between a child and an adult.
Would
And
you
the fact is that,
would you agree that grooming and manipulating a child of any age into sending nudes or doing any of the other disgusting shit that people do, that's not abuse at all?
that is completely abuse, and I completely condemn it, and most of the pedophile community completely condemn it. Let's make
Well,
it very clear. No,
Yeah.
let's make it, sorry.
Go ahead.
Really clear. If any sexual act between a child and an adult involves grooming or manipulation or unjust coercion,
Okay. You're getting there, Kino. Any act like that between a child and an adult, period, is
Going to the-
abuse. Huh?
No, said pedophile community.
Oh, he did say pedophile community. There's the whole community.
Just make a note of that.
Go.
then obviously we would condemn it, and it would be already penalized. Let's make it very clear. If we abolish age of consent laws, any sexual act that is harmful will still be penalized because, if you notice, there are still molest and rape laws.
Harmful. It's harmful, period. No
course
matter
it
how you turn, no matter what you say.
Mentally, physically,
If it's
It's
sexual,
harmful.
that's very harmful. If it's
exactly.
just like a freaking kind of like a non-sexual relationship. I guess not like that. Like, what am I trying to say? I
What
guess
are
it, like, okay, here, let me just restart. If a
Okay.
kid and an adult were dating, that is mentally harmful. There's no way you can turn it where it's not going to be harmful in some way.
Every kind of sexual abuse that you mentioned about whatever family members you have, they will still be penalized, and the pedophile community will condemn it. What
Pedophile community.
we won't penalize is consensual sexual acts that does not harm either of those parties.
Well,
It does! It just does! It harms both of those parties! Immensely!
it's not just rape or molestation. It's not just physical abuse. It's also... You realize
Mental
that Shuon
abuse.
Head said that you should block anybody with map in the name, AOA, any of that clown emoji stuff, because
I think
they are very manipulative. Maps are very manipulative. Pedophiles can be
that's
very
just
manipulative.
completely untrue. And
I'm not entirely sure. Combat Wombat was kind of stereotyping, but from what I've heard, it is the majority of them are. But you want to sacrifice a minority either. So I don't know. That's a complicated subject. I mean, it shouldn't be, but to make everyone happy, it is.
I urge you to speak with some of the map community on Twitter, and you realize that most of them are not creepers that want to harm children. Maybe a small minority might be.
There
but most
are
of them
some that
aren't.
are non-offending and that they realize that they are sick and they try to get therapy.
Those are
That's an
called
entirely
anti-contact vision.
yeah, that's entirely different. What a lot
I
of
know.
maps are doing is they're advocating the normalcy of being attracted to children, and that should not be normal. That should not be something we encourage by, for example, letting them into the LGBT. No.
No, yeah, there's a difference between the anti-contact and the pro-contacts. The anti-contacts are unprecedentedly cringe, and I completely disagree.
He uses cringe. He said cringe in a debate.
He is cringe.
They're unprecedentedly cringe. That's just a nitpick. I'm just boiling him now.
That's definitely something.
Jesus Christ.
It gets worse later on, trust me.
Disagree with them. Yeah. So
How are they cringe? They're anti-contact. How are they cringe?
they're essentially pedophiles who, firstly, I think exploring your sexuality as a pedophile is completely fine, and these people.
It is
No,
not fine.
it's not
It
fine.
is not fine.
It is not
Nothing
fine.
about it is fine.
Jesus Christ.
Absolutely not fine.
Yeah.
He says it's absolutely not fine.
Yep, absolutely not.
It's fine, and there's definitive
I think it's fine.
evidence by researchers
It
that
is
shows
not.
that it is fine. So
I have definitive.
I have definitive research that this is morally fine. How are you gonna prove that something is morally okay?
Definitive research, my fucking ass, dude.
How
There
are
is
you-
no research that would say that fucking a kid is fine.
Oh my god.
My god.
This dude.
Evidence of how grooming can fuck somebody's life up. So you know the YouTuber Lion Maker?
I'm not talking about grooming. I'm talking about consensual
I
sexual
am.
acts. So you're
I'm talking
completely
about-
misrepresenting my point, sir.
I'm talking about when a
God, he sounds so gay. Kino does. You're
That's
you're actually misrepresenting my point. He sounds like a male Karen. He has no chill whatsoever. This is why he's never gonna win an argument. That and he just has really dumb opinions on everything. I think this is where Combat Wombat does start to go off track though.
Yeah, it is.
a pedophile gets into somebody's DMs, gets into contact with a child, and basically manipulates them. Lion Maker is a very famous and infamous, case of this. He is a
Yeah.
Minecraft YouTuber, disgusting piece of shit. He was in
Heard of
a
it.
14-year-old girl's DMs for years, got nudes from her. Her parents found out, made her stop talking to him, and then out of anger, he leaked her DMs out onto the internet.
Jesus.
I
Not our
completely
DMs, her
condemn
news.
that. But as I said, that is a case of unjust manipulation and coercion. That's a completely different from a consensual sexual act. Because there are many other cases, like for example, a 7-year-old who engaged in a sexual act with a janitor, or like a 14-year-old who engaged in a sexual act with a 20-year-old. Then she grows up to be an 18-year-old, and they get married, and everything is happy. Most of the cases are consensual. The cases that you're mentioning of like leaking DMs or having some sort of manipulation, those are a complete minority, and that doesn't represent the pedophile community.
So
Yes,
I
it
hate to be-
does.
It does. I mean, that is a stereotype, though, if you think about it. But some stereotypes are
is
true.
A true stereotype.
Yeah, some of them are true.
a dick here, but children are very ignorant, and they're just not. They do not know how the world works. So
No, we don't, because we physically. Well, once you reach like 11 to 12, you start getting a vague idea of how things start to work, but nowhere like near consent levels. But when you're like 3 to or 0 to 10 or even 0 to 11, actually, you have no idea. So he is right.
Exactly.
So it is very easy for somebody, a pedophile, a map, to manipulate them. Just to talk to them and act nice and then ask for nudes. It happens all the time. All the
As
time.
I said, yeah,
Pause.
as I said that there's
Oh,
Tom?
sorry. Yep.
Yeah, but as he said, it's very easy for a pedophile to manipulate someone under the guise of being nice.
Yeah.
Don't let that happen. If you are around our age range, do not let that happen.
Don't let that happen, please. Just because someone's nice to you does not mean that they're a good person morally. Like, if you meet someone in a game and you start talking to them in Discord and they
And they
seem
just tell you
really
to send
and
nudes.
they're literally
Don't
it's like a freaking
dude.
20-year-old and you're playing games with them, they seem like a good person. And then they just completely turn and say, haha, send, ha, ha, ha. And then you somehow freaking fall for it. Just don't, dude. Be more smart than that. Just stick with your age group. You shouldn't have to move.
definitive enough evidence which shows that I don't think children are as like low intelligence as you make them out to be.
Yes, we are. I can say that, yes, most of us are very freaking dumb when it comes to just common sense. Or what most people would deem as common sense.
Something I'll say is that we are mentally retarded. When it comes to that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot wrong with that, but being as dumb as some kids are, just falling into traps, but I don't know.
Basically,
That
for
is what we are.
any people that know us or are around this age, don't fall for that type of shit. Please,
Yeah.
for the love of fucking God, do not.
There should be several red flags along the way that you should just leave. Like, the dude's freaking 30. Yup, dipping.
Yeah, just fucking, just block him and leave permanently.
Alright, let's go on.
There's definitive enough evidence which shows that they're capable of consenting to sex.
What evidence? I want to know what evidence this guy actually has, or if he's just saying that. Because
He's probably just doing it.
I really don't think there's any evidence. He doesn't, I think this is about where we stopped watching, or at least I stopped watching.
Roundabout.
I don't, Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he brings up any, like, actual evidence. I don't think he cites anything. I don't think he says anything about anything.
He does cite shit, but not to us. He's sent Combat Wombat some links, and that's what he says. Like, that's what he means when he's talking about quote-unquote citations.
Oh, alright.
But we don't get to see those.
Yeah, honestly, I think Combat should leak those. Because
This vid is like almost a year old by this point, like 9 months, so
Oh,
we probably
really?
ain't getting shit from it.
Yeah, probably. Well, we can still talk about it, because it's still really messed up.
It's still relevant.
Yeah. Alright, here we go.
Knows the consequences of the action, and also the fact that I think what you're trying to imply is that there's a power dynamic involved with an adult and a child, and makes children, more easily manipulable.
It's not even an act of
than a typical
intelligence.
person.
It's
Yeah,
the fact that they don't know any better. They don't know, like a lot of the kids in the age ranges that you're talking
Yeah, that is what we meant by dumb. We don't have any common sense. That falls under common sense, not knowing any better.
about, they don't know what sex is. They really don't. They've heard about it. They don't know what it. I didn't know what it was until I was like 13, 14.
But there's enough evidence which shows that cognitively, they would be able to understand what a sexual act is and what the consequences of it
He just
are.
said cognitively again.
I want a counter.
Which,
I'm putting a dude. I'm putting a counter up on
Yeah,
the video.
definitely. When editing, when in post editing, just fucking put up a counter. And every time the word cognitive is spoken by Kino, put a ding on the counter.
I'm not gonna put a ding because that's gonna get distracting. I'm just gonna add one. By the end of the video, it's probably gonna be like 100.
It's gonna be more than 100, dude. He says it every, like, minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah, so far he's just been regurgitating most of his points, and we've kind of, since he's been regurgitating, we've kind of been regurgitating, so I'm not even gonna say anything about what this guy just said.
Yeah, just don't.
We've already said what we need to.
At
Cognitively,
around 8 years old. And yeah, you mentioned before what you understood what sex is at like 12 to 13. So what could we compromise and perhaps
Also,
reduce the
he
age of consent
said 13 to 14, not 12 to 13.
Yeah.
to 12 or
He, this man wants to lower ages so much. He's such a pedophile.
And he's making shit up because of it.
no, because having sexual relations with a 12-year-old is fucked up.
Yeah.
And it would not only injure them.
But you just admitted that you understood what sex was at 13.
Just because you understand what it is does not make it okay. God, man.
Like, hold up. For us to say, I know that this is not gonna happen, but for us to say, fuck someone our age range, obviously, that's more understandable than fucking a 20-year-old or something like that.
I mean, it's still really messed up.
Yeah, but it's better when it's someone around your age range, not like fucking 2 times your age. That's why it's not illegal for, you know, people our age to do it with people our age. Right?
Yes.
That doesn't mean that I was able to have sex and not have it be A, illegal, B, painful, and C, not know anything about it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just because I know what it is.
Sure, but as I said, you keep on mentioning cases of manipulation, but as evidence shows, most pedophiles do not want to harm a child, and most sexual relationships between a child and an adult is
It doesn't matter. You're going to harm them. We said this before. I'm regurgitating more than Kino. We said this before. You will, and doesn't matter what you're gonna do, you are gonna harm that person, whether it's physically or mentally.
Both. It's gonna be both.
It is going to be both.
By
sexual and
design,
harmless, so.
the manipulation is abusing the child.
Exactly.
Essentially, you're making up all these factors, saying that by necessity, age will indicate that it is a harmful act, but evidence.
Well, it does.
Yeah, it's definitely a harmful act, no
It
matter
it
the
literally
age,
does.
as long as they're underaged, it's gonna be a harmful act to them.
Not to sound like Kino or anything, I'm gonna use a big boy word here. I can't. I'm so stupid. I can't. It biologically does. Jesus.
Contradicts your opinion. So, and once again, I like to ask.
Very biased
especially the audience,
information.
Very biased information.
Very, very biased.
Very.
Very biased research that you
biased
found.
at all.
Very biased.
And this is the dude that got the links. And if he's
Yep.
saying they're biased, that's
Then
the only
they're
thing we can
fucking
go
biased.
off of. So they're probably biased.
They definitely are if they're defending fucking pedophiles.
Also,
It
it's
is
not
biased.
And look, I showed you my citations. They are completely.
I guarantee you I could
unbiased
go and
Okay,
look
but-
for citations.
The citation.
As you heard, he just said he showed Combat Wombat his citations. So that's like the links that he used as quote unquote proof.
Yeah.
And motherfucker, just no.
Here, I'm gonna go back.
I showed you my citations.
I showed you my
They are
citations.
I
completely
guarantee you I could go and look
unbiased
for a citation that proves everything wrong from a different child psychologist.
Go do it. We can plan another discussion in the future, but I challenge you to find something that is not completely misrepresenting the pedophile community. I urge you to
Dude, I
As he
could
said
do that.
again, pedophile community.
Pedophile community.
find
I
one.
find that funny.
It is funny. I mean, it's not funny, but
It's funny that they call themselves the community now.
it's funny if you can laugh about it, but otherwise, it's really messed up.
We can laugh about it, but otherwise, it is very messed up.
A lot of the people that are
I
in
can
this
confirm that you
chat
will
are
be able
making a
to
good
tell.
point. A lot of people in chat are making a good point. Just mental development does not include physical development. Like I said, ages
Yep.
10 to 14
Okay,
for
yeah,
girls,
let's talk about that.
puberty,
Oh,
right?
no!
Before they hit puberty, they
What?
Age of-
don't even have.
Age of consent in Japan is 14.
I know.
What? That is so messed up.
It is. It really
The-
fucking is, dude.
Sexual organs are not completely developed. But you're
Let's talk about-
advocating
yeah.
for 4-year-olds to be able to have sex. I don't. That's fucking
No.
mental.
Let's
I
make
don't get
that
it.
very clear. I do not want penetration until
Alright.
perhaps the age of 13
then-
and above.
I don't know why that sounded so weird in my head. It was completely fine to say, and
What was?
what he said, I do not want penetration until.
It sounded wrong, yeah. Because obviously, if you're talking about penetrating a child in any
Okay,
fucking way,
Jeremy, shut up.
No, I'm talking about sexual acts.
That's
as in,
why it
and
sounded wrong, motherfucker.
Shut up.
let's make that very clear. I do not want penetration until perhaps the age of 13
Then
and above.
what the fuck do you want?
No, I'm not.
What the fuck do you want? That's an excellent question.
Yeah, he doesn't believe what's coming out of his mouth.
It's so fucking dumb, dude.
Oh my god.
I'm talking about sexual acts, as in, and sexual acts includes non-penetrative acts, such
Excuse me,
What?
what?
What do you mean?
How does that fucking work?
All right, let's give him a chance.
as like
Oh,
mutual
Christ.
masturbation.
He said, "Oh Christ."
Oh, Christ. Hold on. The only sexual act that I could imagine goes without penetration is non-existent.
Making out. Obviously, those exist.
Oh,
Oh, hold on.
wait.
What did he say?
Oh no, that's still messed up.
What did he say?
Hey, let me.
Acts, such as like
Oh,
mutual
Christ.
masturbation.
Oh, yep, there it is. That's so fucking.
You did it. You got your own vomit pause.
I need to get a fucking vomit bin, dude.
That is so messed up, dude.
Making out. Obviously, those exist. And
Okay, sure, they exist. Not between a child and an adult. Not even between a child and a child, actually. Okay, those exist, but
Yeah,
they're not
those do
morally
exist,
okay.
but they're not. They aren't something that the public needs to know about, and they're not something that pedophiles need to know about. Oh god, I think I just gagged.
They exist, but they are illegal. Between kids and kids and adults and kids. Adults and adults, you're fine. You're a freaking adult. You can do whatever you want.
Not whatever you want. Don't go out and murder someone.
Yeah, don't do
But-
that. Alright, whatever.
if yeah,
You're saying you'd
obviously,
make out with a
pedophiles-
4-year-old?
What? Motherfucking what? What is that?
Hey, Ed. So what Kino just said, right? And then Combat zoomed in on the gameplay, and he said, "You'd say you make out with a 4-year-old?"
Hold the fuck up. Hold the fuck up.
This dude is so weird.
Would I make out?
It was just silence. It's just silence. Would you make out with a 4-year-old? Would I make up? Jesus.
I'm not an actual pedophile, so.
You're not.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I'm not an actual pedophile. What does a pedophile classify as then?
I'm not. Okay, we'll talk about that soon. But let's make it very clear. Pedophiles have the common sense that, from 4 to 12 years old, probably physically unable to deal with an adult's cock.
Oh my god, why do you have to say that?
Hold on. Can we pause the vid?
Alright, I'll pause.
Because I think my fucking computer just died.
I'll stop the recording.
Just